Hello and welcome to Opinions Plus. I guess many of you have heard about Jeff Walz, Tim Walz's brother, who made comments saying that Tim Walz was not fit to be president or vice president, certain character flaws. And, I guess the New York Post ran a big thing about that and everything. And it's one thing to say these things, it's another thing because you're so hepped up on getting the goods on somebody, using family against family or whatever it is, whatever the mean part of this, especially today's political spirit is. But the lies, they don't bother to check on anything. They don't bother to engage in anything. But did you hear the stories, the life stories that Jeff Walz was referring to about his brother Tim Walz? That as a child, on family trips in their station wagon, which brought back memories to me about family trips in my parents' station wagon, he would get car sick and he'd throw up on people. You didn't want to sit next to him. You didn't want to be part of him because he got car sick. That was it. And he wouldn't go any farther. But he had to make a comment because Jeff Walz is a Trumpian. And he's had to support the cult leader. Leader over family, I guess. I don't know. I have no idea. But think about why they jump on this stuff, why they make it such a big deal. And they lie to everybody about it with a little research, with a little background, with a little something. No, but they don't. How do you believe these people? And it's story after story that is just filled with lies and deceit and innuendo and everything else. Then the other picture came up with a bunch of people. Somebody got together and gave them some shirts and said "Families against Walz." Walz family, Walz families for Trump and against Walz. And these are people who are well removed from Walz. I think they're, 14th cousins or something. But it doesn't really matter because it's what they're using them for. And these people get together because they're going to be in a picture and they do this stuff. And I guess they just love True Donald for God knows why, but they do. And just like Jeff Walz, I don't know why these people are so engaged in such a liar, but they are. And, Tim Walz gets all kinds of flack for his statement about rifles and this and that. And on the opposite side, these people lie about everything. They use everything in their toolbox to get people to start to reconsider if they were considering the Harris-Walz ticket. They'll do anything, say anything. Means nothing. There's so many of these situations, and that's just the Walz side. But how silly, how ridiculous that a kid, and I saw some of the comedians, saying, well, he was on whatever age, 10 years old, 11 years old. He was being a kid. He had stomach issues. Many adults get car sick. But at least they have enough sense to stop the car before they vomit. But this, I don't know. Who knows? But that was the limit of the stories from Jeff Walz. And then the other group were just distant people. But it really doesn't matter. You can still be for Donald Trump, whether you're brother, sister, 14th cousin, or whatever. It's the way they manipulate the information, the way they spin it just to make somebody suggest something. They don't care. There's not a bit of care about the truth. And it goes well beyond Tim Walz, and it goes into, every aspect of this thing. Trump was at this Mothers for Liberty summit or yearly thing, whatever they do, saying that schools were just out there just taking children and sending them off, getting operations. I mean, I listened to the clip. It was August 30th, I think, this year. And he's talking to this woman, and there's this whole crowd of Mothers for Liberty there. And he's saying, yeah, the schools just take the child, any child, wasn't specific, he never is, and sends them off, and they get a gender transition operation. And in a few days, they come back, and there they are. They're a new gender. And then Mr. Trump says, oh, in 10, 15 years, the child says, who the hell did this to me? I mean, it's bananas across the board on so many levels, and these women did applaud that statement. The fact that the schools could never do that. And one of the comedians said, well, the nurses station aren't set up for transgender surgical operations, as if these major operations and who pays for it and all this stuff. No question, they just took it in. They just sucked it in. That it's illegal. They could be prosecuted. They could be sent for kidnapping and everything else. I mean, it's just, and they blamed it, and Trump, his story it was, blamed it on the schools. The schools do this. The schools. No specific schools, no this, no that. It's this whole thing of lying. And why do people believe it? Educated people. The Economic Club in New York, Trump gets up there and starts jammering about childcare. Ludicrous statements. One actual question about childcare was presented to him by, and these are all influential, wealthy people in this Economic Club in New York. And one woman, one of the last questions, I guess it was the last question, what are you going to do about childcare? And he went into this whole thing about tariffs and taxing other countries, which is, I did a clip on tariffs, and we pay it, not the Chinese, nobody else. We pay the tariffs. But again, it goes to the heart. Everything he said was just stupid. Had nothing to do with child care, had nothing to do with the question, had nothing to do with anything. All he did was spin a bunch of words, and people loved it. They applauded it. They sucked it in. These are educated, well-informed people. Because why? They don't care at all whether, it was a story from Jeff Walz about the fact that the kid, Tim was 11-year-old and had a stomach problem. Or these family against Walz were, 14 levels removed from Tim. Doesn't matter, brother or sister, it's still the idea behind it. Implying close family, but it's not close family. And it doesn't really matter whether it's close family. People within families can have different views on policies. Even Christ was not accepted in his hometown. He mentioned it specifically. There's so much of this. But then Trump gets up and he talks about transgender, just blatant, ridiculous statements. Just to bring out the hate. Doesn't matter what he says. He's a con man. He brings out the hate. He knows what he's doing. It's internal in him. Tariffs, implying tariffs are tax that the Chinese pay. They don't pay it. And yet well-educated people believe all this hunky-bunky stuff. Be aware. Be concerned. Not just critically think, just think. I'm giving up on the critically thinking thing and just think. Because people aren't even thinking. They're just accepting. And we're well above that. We're highly educated people. Use the brain God gave us. Whether you believe God or not, the brain you've got, use it. Go to the good. Speak the truth. Don't accept the lies. Stop accepting the lies, whoever says it. Thanks for listening. Have a good day. If you like what you hear, subscribe, pass it on to someone else, see if this has any value for them. Appreciate the views. Thanks again. And comment. Always comment. Bye for now.